As many of you know, Bart and Melissa Kotter from NUSA, and we have a fantastic training lined up for you today. We have Triple Diamond Associate from Maryland in the United States, Debbie Wetzler, who's going to be featuring, and Chuck and Tammi Gates, who are Ambassador Double Diamond. They're heading out to Australia and New Zealand this May. So they cannot join us live today, but I have a recording that is a phenomenal interview of who they are, what they're about, what their vision for ASEA is, and you'll really enjoy listening to them because they are a complete inspiration.
They've got about 75 people at their home today at a big training that they've got, so they've accommodated us. Melissa did a great job interviewing them, so be good content to listen and learn from.
And we want to welcome also the panelists on today's call. They're silvers and above. And we also want to thank you all as participants because this really is a leadership training. You're going to learn a lot of great information, and the idea is to inspire you to engage really fully in your ASEA business. Now, as far as panelists, if we could ask you to be sure to mute your microphone unless you need to unless you're invited into the conversation, that would be great. It's going to help when it comes to our recording. So let's move ahead. I wanted to go through the agenda. So we are going to start with recognition because we have some phenomenal announcements. There's some wonderful people who have achieved first place in the cruise and a lot of other fabulous movements throughout the organisation. It's really important for us to recognise them. Debbie Wetzler will be up as well. After that, it's after 9 p.m. her time in America, so we want to honour that and feature her. And then I'll play the recording for Chuck and Tammi. If there's time, I want to go through a phenomenal Eric Warre video which will help tie in today's theme. We want to revisit the pack promotions, incentives and updates and give you specifics about the events that are coming to Australia and also other events that you really need to plug your team into, and you need to lead by example and be at those events yourself. So everyone has heard, no doubt, except perhaps new guests on today's webinar, about the Bahamas cruise. It was an Ascent qualification or incentive, which is a leadership program that ASEA puts out every year. There was a qualification period, as you can see. It has been a phenomenal journey, particularly for Lorraine Bart. She is a diamond out of Melbourne. She has maintained her first place position from week one. Nobody caught her, and we are so happy and so proud of Lorraine. So massive congratulations, Lorraine, because it has been a dream of hers as a single mum to take her two girls on this cruise, and she did it. So
yeah, personally enrolled over 20 people. I'm not sure, was it 23, I think?
Yeah.
just an amazing value. So $7,750 value, US dollars. So well done, Lorraine. We're so proud of you. Really amazed.
We've got Seth and Yeska, who are platinums up here in NUSA. They came in 6th place overall, which is put them in the pool for the 2nd place prize winning, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're very excited about going. And we also have Mal Sword, a platinum from Brisbane, who came in as a 2nd place prize pool winner as well.
Fantastic showing, you guys.
Yeah. And 3rd place prize winners, we have Winnie Wong. Actually, she's platinum. She came in at 15th.
Yeah, just went platinum last week. Yeah.
So 15th place. Richard Lee from Melbourne, who came in 17th place, so he's in the 3rd prize pool. And Maurizio Munoz, who came in 19th place as well. So congratulations to all of you.
That's a fantastic showing for Australia.
Oh, yeah. Julia Wesley came in as a 4th place prize pool winner as well. Julie Watts from Bundaberg. And Hongzhou, 46th place as a 4th place prize winner. So they get $2,500 US value toward their journey. Let's now recognise some recent Director 300s in our organisation. I'm not going to go through and read out the names, but you can see the people in your team and also people you know who are doing what it takes to create the foundation in their business, which is developing themselves to the Director 300 level, which means they know how to get everybody in their organisation who's building a business there as well. So we're excited to see this list grow every month, and we're really, really proud of you, and we're excited to meet you personally and share in the joy of your ASEA journey.
So for any of you that may not know, that Director 300 is where you've created 300 points on your left leg and 300 points on your right leg. Obviously sponsored at least a couple people, and then help build that team to where you've got that volume in a single week. It's also an important level because as you move up the leadership ranks from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond, you need to help develop these Director 300s in your team. So it's all about helping your team to succeed as well. So well done, you guys, for hitting this Director 300 level. It is a significant benchmark, and it's exactly what you want to keep duplicating within your team.
Director 700s. So here's a list of amazing people who are working their way up the ranks toward the bronze executive momentum pool. And this is where they're really starting to develop leadership skills and mentor and coaching skills as well.
So the same thing as Director 300, except for it's 700 points on each side of the business, on the left and the right side. Again, done in a calendar week, a business week. And so it's just the next step in moving up the ladder.
Congratulations to the following bronze executives. So we've got Michelle Machong, yeah, David and Susan Honeysett, Maria Hopwood, and Lee Jones. I'm not going to pronounce this name, but I'd love to meet them to learn how to. Property Solutions.
I'll give it a go.
Kayleen O'Connor and Laming Yang as well. So congratulations, bronze executives.
Bronze executive, just to give a recap, that's doing 2,000 points on both the left and the right side of your business at least. And also, as I mentioned with the Director 300s, you've helped at least 2 people to achieve the Director 300 level. So 2 different legs of your business in the bronze level. So you're also at the bronze level, you do that 2 weeks in a row, and you open up the executive momentum pool where you can start participating in 3% of the global sales. So it is a significant place to start reaping some additional rewards in the incentive program.
So one more name there. Usually, as you know, we have Richard on, who is our Chinese interpreter, who says these names beautifully. So we'll make sure that he's on next month's call. Silver executives, we have Karen and Wayne Pickstone, we have Bo Pang and Henry So. Congratulations, silver executives.
Absolutely. So direct silver, that's 3,000, same as bronze, except for it's 3,000 points on each side in a calendar week, and this time it would be 3 Director 300s. In that week as well. So you're just helping to develop your team and moving forward. So congratulations, you guys. These are significant achievements. And again, it's part of the executive momentum pool. When you've hit those levels 2 weeks in a row, as you move up, that percentage increases too. So excellent.
Congratulations to Redoxy Australia Developments on developing to the gold executive level. And also to Platinum Executive Winnie Wong, who lives between Hong Kong and Sydney, Australia. So congratulations, Winnie. We are very, very proud of you, and you deserve the success that you're seeing in ASEA.
Those are some massive accomplishments. We are so incredibly proud of you. Winnie, brilliant job. She's over in Hong Kong, spearheading some growth over there. So just, you guys are amazing leaders.
Okay, let's look at the emerging leaders on the Fantastic Achievement Board over the last few weeks. We have a phenomenal lineup of people. You can see that some people have been featured twice. This is globally. These are positioned between fourth in the world and 9th in the world globally. So we are really, really excited and proud of all of you. You're out there doing what it takes. You're offering ASEA as a gift for people. You're sorting through to find your leaders, and you're doing whatever it takes to make it happen. So congratulations on your success. The following top associate enrollers. So we have Trudy out of the Netherlands. Congratulations, Trudy. Stepan Jeska from up here in Noosa, and Richard Lee as well. So congratulations on being, number 8, number 5 in the world on associate enrolling. And we have some AutoShip All-Stars with Dr. Monica Moritz out of New Zealand and Chin Hang Wong from Hong Kong. So congratulations again on your success. Now we're very excited to introduce you to the beautiful Debbie Wetzler. She is one of the most gracious women we've ever had the pleasure of meeting and knowing. And one of the reasons why we invited Debbie on today is because she sponsored Dr. David Silverman, whom most of you met last weekend in Sydney, and I'm sure nearly all of you on this line know of and know about David. So we're excited to introduce Debbie. We'll get her to unmute her microphone right now. There she is.
Hello, Debbie.
Hello there. Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you very much. So Debbie, by the way, she is not part of our organisation, so unfortunately. So she has been, she's doing this from the bottom of her heart to be able to share with you a little bit about herself, her ASEA journey, because many of you know bits and pieces of Debbie's story. And Debbie, I know, did I get it right? Are you in Maryland?
I'm in Maryland, yes.
Okay.
I live pretty close to David. We've known each other for a long time.
Oh, fantastic. So you've known David in a previous company as well, which means that you've been in the industry for quite some time.
Yes, we've been friends for 17 years.
So how did you, and thank you for sharing him with us last weekend, because if you didn't bring him to ASEA, then we wouldn't have had his experience out here, so thank you. So,
of course.
Just curious, how did you approach David about ASEA?
Well, that goes back to when I'd gone to the launch of the product, and I'd already had it confirmed by a top scientist here in one of our the National Institute of Health, which is our biggest research center in the United States. And she couldn't believe that somebody had been able to finally stabilize these molecules. And she told me so. And she said, this will change the medical field as you know it. You have no idea how massive this is. And then I flew to the launch. And, you know, it had already hit me that everything, that this was a standout product that nobody else had, that nobody could copy. And I hate to say the word opportunity, but the opportunity for giving this to the world was amazing. You know, we were the only ones to have this. So I go to the launch and I hear the story directly from Vertus and Jim Pack at the time and Gary Samuelson's mouth about how they turned down this check. And I hear testimonials that I nearly fell out of my seat with. And it was so overwhelming. It's like a big event that you get to, but this was the launch. And I was flying back home and just thought, I've got to tell the people I know and love about this. And David's like a brother to me. So it took all I had, because he was my upline in the other company. And I knew what he could do, basically. And I knew what that company was doing to people who were recruiting. So I basically met with him at a restaurant, and I just said, David, you know I love you as a brother. He always makes fun of that one. And he goes, yeah. And I said, I've learned about something that you have to know about, because I know your heart. I know you like to share. I know you like to help people. And being a doctor, I think you might understand this. And he said, okay, what is it? So when I told him, of course, he had all these things running through his head that, okay, this is a different company and all that kind of stuff. But he heard what I said enough to get his father on the product. He signed his father up immediately. And his father got on, who is having a prostate issue. And he didn't know it at the time, but his father just kept getting better and better and going through the other treatments for that kind of a prostate issue. His father never felt anything. He had more energy. He felt better. He never lost hair. He never had anything happen. And David thought that was kind of peculiar, but, you know, and then it started all fitting in for him. And he introduced it to a few people without being in the company. And one was another researcher. And that guy came back and said, David, this isn't a placebo. I don't think this is uncompliant. I've had every skin tag I've had fall off from under my arms. And David said, are you kidding? And so, you know, he just kept learning things over and over, and he just jumped in. He said, yeah, you're right. This is the biggest thing I've ever seen.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was.
Did you, you said you met David at a restaurant. Is that restaurant the restaurant you happened to be working at when you started your ASEA journey?
No. I didn't take him there. We wouldn't have had any privacy.
Okay. Because the reason why I brought that up is because something that you're globally renowned for is building this business on 20 minutes a day. And what we would like you to share with people is what your life was like before ASEA, and what made you make the decision to utilize that 20 minutes a day. Just tell us a little bit about that chapter in your life.
Yeah, I mean, life was you were in a very challenging situation at that time. Maybe just share with us what life was like and how that all came about.
Yes, and as we were just learning, I think it was definitely a big lesson I was supposed to learn. I had been entrepreneurial my whole life and ran wonderfully successful businesses. And my last one was an interior design business. And I was renowned. I was in the Washington Post. I was in the Washingtonian magazine. I was very successful. And I never had any problem with money. But I was supposed to learn something, obviously. I had stepped down from the interior design business to go help a man who had an amazing children's website that Disney and Pixar wanted. And the vision was amazing, but he did not know how to run a business. And in 2008, when the economy tanked for everyone around the world, he went bankrupt and just never even came back into the company. We kept going to work thinking, because sometimes he was very late showing up, and so we didn't think anything about it. He just didn't show up for days. And then it finally got to about a week, and we were like, okay, what's happening? And we finally, he just left us with nothing. Never came back to say a word to us. And so at that point, no money was coming in. I actually live, I think it's been rated, well, it's in the top 5 most expensive places in the United States to live. Okay. But there was no way to move at that point either, because that's expensive. So I was trying to save my house because my daughter still lived with me. She'd gone through a lot. I'd gone through a divorce, and there were extenuating circumstances for that. And it took a real big toll on her. And so I was trying to put up a brave front and not let her see how totally scared and petrified I was that I had no money coming in. And so I was beating the pavements trying to look for a job. And it was 6 months later, I'd gone through most of my savings at that point, just trying to hang on. And I got a job as a server in a restaurant, as you were saying. And it was a very nice restaurant. A lot of people go to it. And I was working double shifts just to try to stay afloat. And I had 20 minutes a day. So by the time, so I was working there for a couple years before I ever heard about ASEA. And it was just going downhill because I was making enough to cover everything but my mortgage. And I was getting further and further behind. I was paying some, but not enough. And I kept applying for loan modifications, which was lowering my interest rate so I could maybe hang on to it, but I wasn't making enough money. So it was kind of this horrible, catch-22 thing. And I finally got the letter that I was just dreading and petrified me even more, that they were going to foreclose on my house. And it still brings very emotional for me, I'm sorry. But I think everything came up in me at that time, and I just saw my daughter's face, and I thought, there is no way, I don't know what I'm going to do, that I can tell her that I'm going to lose the house now and we're going to be homeless. And so I pretty much got very emotional, went upstairs, I got down on my knees, and I said the biggest prayer I've ever said in my life, that God would bring me something that could turn me around financially, but that I could still help people with, because that was always my dream and goal and my vision, that I was going to help people. And it's funny, I'd always wanted to be a scientist to help develop cancer. And now I know why I wasn't that, because they've had several cures for cancer and they've never been published. So I knew I was supposed to go that route. And it was the very next morning that Cindy Buck called me. Now that was one thing that hit me. And I just looked up and I said, if this is it, then thank you. So I took the information very seriously. And I started watching the video. We had one by Alan Noble. And I watched it probably 3 times, and I thought, if this is true, this has got to be huge. And that's when I took it to the molecular biologist, who is very intelligent, from India, had graduated from Johns Hopkins. She just took one look and she just almost fell off her chair. And very coincidentally, she had a book that she normally had at work right above her shelf. And she said, Debbie, I usually have this because we do research every day. Look at this. And it was all redox molecules, every bit of it. And she starts telling me what they do and how they cross the blood-brain barrier, and how, in her words, this is going to help. And she started naming all the mental issues that this was going to help, because she's in the mental department at NIH. And I look at her and I said, are you kidding me? And she said, no, you have no idea how big this is. And so I literally started, well, I got a case from my mother, and then when I could afford it the next week, because I made enough money, I got a case for me. And I just started telling people about it. I just thought, this has got to be amazing. But again, I had 20 minutes. It was from 4 o'clock my time to 4:20. They gave us a 20-minute break in between shifts. And so I would take the cards, my index cards, I'd go out in my car, I'd start making phone calls. And I just came from the heart, as you said. I just said, you know, I've learned about something totally amazing. I'd love for you to learn about it because I care about you so much. Will you take the time to watch a 5-minute video? And they all said yes, of course. So I had them watch the 5-minute video. Then I'd pretty much book Cindy for that 20 minutes every day because I didn't know how to answer anything at that point. And I'd call them back to follow up. And I didn't care if they'd watched it or not. I just, before they could say anything, I'd say, Melissa, do you have a minute? Yes. That's great because I'm lucky enough to have Cindy Buck on the phone call. And she is an amazing person who has learned so much more about this than what I know. And I wanted her to be able to answer your questions. And then whether or not they'd watched it or not, she was able to speak at that point. She got them interested enough to move forward and pretty much closed all my people for me, which is great. And it just started accelerating and accelerating and accelerating. And I was finally able to work just night shifts, which was much better money, and dedicate more time during the day. And then luckily and thankfully and gratefully and everything else, my son got married in June of 2012. And I went in and I just said, can you give me a leave of absence because I just can't do a wedding and work here and do this other business? And they said, sure. I'm still on that leave of absence. I never went back to quit. I was making enough money at that point. I was making 6 figures that I was able to pay for my son's rehearsal dinner, which meant the world to me. And it was just that, and that's what happened. And that's when I was able to quit. And it was scary because I had, it was, barely, but anyway, it was good.
That is such an amazing story, Debbie. And that's why I really wanted people on the webinar today to listen to your journey because number one, if you have 20 minutes a day, you can change someone's life. And number two, what if Cindy had never called you?
Exactly.
I mean, I can't even imagine, and you probably can't either, what life would be like right now if she hadn't. And number three, sometimes we need to put it out there and ask for it. We need to higher source, God, whatever anybody wants to call our creator. Sometimes it's in our moments when we're the most humbled that we need some guidance, we need some advice. And the moral to where I'm going with this, moral to the story, in my opinion, is the fact that help is there. People are looking for their prayers to be answered. And we don't know who they are until we open our mouth and let them know about it. So thank God for Cindy because, you're here and your journey has been absolutely amazing. So congratulations.
We definitely are messengers for people, not only physically, but financially as well. And that's what you were praying for. It's interesting because knowing a little bit about your story, and I remember watching before we really got engaged, watching on Facebook because we've been Facebook friends too. And just a beautiful trip that you took your daughter on down to Costa Rica, and as part of one of the ASEA events, you've been able to go from struggling, really not being able to do anything, to taking some pretty amazing holidays and trips and stuff. How's life changed for you?
Oh my gosh! Well, I was so broke I wasn't able to buy, and this kills me. I'm a very giving person. I love to give to people. And I always loved Christmas because I was able to give gifts. I wasn't able to buy gifts for my children for 3 years at all. And they understood it, and it was fine. And it was probably good, but it killed me. So that was my first thing. I just loved buying presents at Christmas time. And then all the trips started coming up, and I was able, right before my son got married, I was able to take him on a Caribbean cruise as a single guy. And he got to meet some of the leaders, and I think that's been a really true gift. Our children are able to be around the people that are in ASEA. And there is no more excellent people that I've ever met in my whole life that are in ASEA. And so to get to hang with people like you Stepanieska, all the people that I've met, Danny Doyle, all those people. Anyway, so I got to introduce my son to a lot of them. Then he got married, and then my daughter went with me on the next few trips, and she just jumped on the bed and said, "Mom, this is like the life of the rich and famous." I said, "Yes, Jackie, it very much is." And again, she knows people. She's Facebook friends with most of my friends in ASEA, and they kind of keep up with her life. And she's going on a trip this summer with her boyfriend, and they're going all around different areas of the country, mostly in the Western, Colorado, and maybe some of the other places. And she's welcome in some of these beautiful places and can hang with these beautiful people. So it's turned my life around in so many different ways that it's hard to explain, of course. And I just feel so blessed and lucky to be able to give back and help other people now just by this knowledge and knowing how to share it and honing my skills as we've been doing to share this better. And it's changed my life completely.
It'd probably be fair to say that now you really are living your purpose. You are on a purpose-driven mission. And the fact that you bought your mum a case of ASEA before you got one yourself, and the fact that when you spoke to people, you said, "I care about you, I love you very much, you need to listen to this," with being genuinely authentic and with expressing what we have when it comes to ASEA and knowing the gift we are offering to other people, very few people say no to that. And even if they do, when you're on a purpose-driven mission like you are, don't miss a beat, because you know what keeps you motivated every day. And is it fair to say it's the transformation of the lives of the people that you've introduced this to and whom you're able to introduce to in the future that keeps you going?
Oh, absolutely. I wake up excited still every single day. There isn't a day I don't jump up and go, I hope I meet somebody today so I can introduce it. But I'm on the phone a lot, as we all are, with Cindy, with three-way phone calls. And I'm introducing it to people and in different ways, some for the product, some for the business, definitely still. And I just hear them, go, "Wow, you mean you think this could help me?" And it gives them hope. And that's the most beautiful thing. Somebody that's hopeless is at the bottom, basically. There's, I can't imagine being hopeless. I felt it almost at one point in my life 7 years ago, but it's just so rewarding every day to be on a phone call with so many people helping to change their lives.
Well, I know when
some people hear it, some don't. I'll just put it that way. And I always think that's kind of divinely guided also.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And then in terms of when you started your business, you started it as a professional right from day one. So you have traveled extensively to support your team. You have been to all the leadership events. I dare say there isn't a convention that you've missed since you started with ASEA. So with people on the line who may be starting their ASEA business for the first time, say today or just recently, what advice would you give them when it comes to starting their business and setting themselves up for success?
Well, the first thing would be to be coachable. The steps have already been laid for people to become successful. And we are learning a fantastic way now to help people. And so listen to your upline, make sure that you're very coachable and that you're listening, and then implement that. And in your spare time, when you can't make phone calls late at night or something, make sure you're learning. Go and watch some of the videos. Make sure you're learning some of your back office. Make sure you're learning about what to do and how to do it and things about ASEA. And then you make sure you get to every meeting, because at every meeting you'll learn something different and you'll hear a different testimonial. And make sure that you sign up immediately for the convention. I mean, if I had not made it, and literally I borrowed a buddy pass from a pilot to get to that launch. He gave me the ticket. And I roomed with several, so it wouldn't cost hardly anything. But I got myself to that launch. And if I hadn't gone there, I wouldn't be where I was today, because it was a big event. It totally enveloped me. And I heard testimonials. I heard what the founder said. I met people. I met Paul Tyra. I remember meeting him. All these wonderful people, Kevin Porter, who that's That is actually whose trophy I'm holding, the Triple Diamond trophy in my signature on my email. It's Kevin Porter's. He turned around and looked at me at the launch and said, "You're going to be the next Triple Diamond. You might as well hold that." And Peg Coates snapped that picture. And in his tribute, I keep that on my signature just because he was a wonderful man. And unfortunately, he did pass away. But you just have experiences that there's no way you could replicate that, if somebody came back and told you. So you make sure you get to all the events and then just get into action. Don't worry about what the compensation plan's like or anything else. Just start calling your friends and telling them about this. And if they don't want to listen, just let it go, basically. Just sort for new people. You're looking for people who get this right away or have a few questions and they need to get answered first.
We're looking for red apples.
You're looking for red apples, that's right.
Hey, you had mentioned something before, which was how you started this. It goes hand in hand with being coachable. And you said you put Cindy and Bo on a three-way phone call every single time. I'm sure that you had them on the phone with David, with Dr. David Silverman as well. I'm sure there was no exception to that.
No. David, I had to get on the phone with people who didn't know him at the time.
Okay, all right.
So it was other people, but Alan Noble definitely.
Yeah, okay, so you use the leverage of the upline team. And so that's one thing I absolutely picked up on. And I'm sure that the other thing is not only did you get to the events, but I'm sure that your success is about getting your team to the events. And so,
exactly.
With Chuck and Tammi Gates coming out to Australia here soon, I mean, that's just, people really need to understand the power of those events and getting them there. So I'm sure that was a key factor.
Absolutely. And it surprised me. Karen Riley told me I was in the lead for getting the most people to the convention this year so far anyway. I'm sure one of you could talk about it. But anyway,
Wow.
But it's just so important. And you can go back. You can go back and get to all your new people and make sure that they know that it's much less expensive to get it within 90 days. And if you can just describe some of the things that have happened to you at a convention and how important it is to get there if they really want to build a business, then we just kind of pass that on. Make sure that is information that gets to them.
Mm. You're so beautiful for joining us today, Debbie. And part of what you've mentioned, which is really important for people to see, and hopefully the people on the line today can feel this as well. We get to rub shoulders with you at these events too, and we get to know.
Yes, I got to hang out with you last time.
Yeah, we get to hang out and we get to really know each other. And the common theme that I have experienced, no doubt Bart as well, and yourself, I'm yet to meet somebody in this cultural ASEA family that doesn't resonate with the culture. Everyone's here, obviously, for each other and to give away this gift and have it come back tenfold. But the culture is something, no doubt, that drew you in to the company because you've been in the industry for a long time. So is that part of what was the initial attraction once you became involved with ASEA?
Oh, absolutely. And I remember going to the first, first of all, I heard the story, which was an incredible culture to begin with. The integrity of the men turning down that check, it just blew you away. Mm. But the first base camp I went to is when Tyler did his first training. He did the first training about the anatomy of peace. And he went into a 4-hour segment about coming from the heart and seeing people as people and not objects. And I sat there with my mouth open. Well, I tried to shut it, but just thinking, what company would you go to for their first leadership training, which would be something that the company is teaching about how to look at people and how you should really look at them from a personal standpoint and not as an object. And it was very overwhelming. And so, of course, the ethos of this company is huge for me. And it started the very first training that I ever went to. And that was back in 2011. It was, I think, the first big one in Park City. And it was another amazing event. Every event I've gone to, and then the Ascent Adventure, I was able to go to that the first time, and they had it at the trout ranch that Tyler owns part of. And it was like watching something in a movie almost, because he would take us and start peeling our layers and letting us see what types of leaders we were to be and making us pick our characteristics. And again, the most phenomenal training I'd ever been to. So the whole company is something unlike anything else out there, which is what we say to people. And the product itself is something like nothing else is out there either. So you've got the whole package. And the compensation plan is wonderful. And so you've got three things that most companies only have one of, if they're lucky.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. And the very last question, I promise. What do you see for ASEA's future?
Well, I see us getting into momentum this year. Thanks to all of our help on this line. And well, there couldn't be a bigger scientific breakthrough at all. And so I can't see anything except extraordinary ahas from so many different scientists, doctors, and everything who look at this, and then from people who understand it. And it's going to go so much faster than antioxidants, say 30 years ago, because antioxidants became so popular that they're in everything now. And people get it and they want to take it. And this is so much bigger than that. And with social media, it's going much faster. More and more people I talk to is like, oh yeah, I've heard of redox molecules now, and things like that, or ASEA even. And so I just see this really exploding. And when scientists realize what we've done, if their egos can get out of the way, they'll be on board also, that they didn't discover it. And I just see massive growth. And as most of the leaders see, if you hit momentum, you're about 20% increase every month in what you're doing. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine. But I want to be a part of it. I want to be, I want to learn how to surf and be on the top of the wave coming in.
Well, you need to make sure that Denny or Trish and Bob loan you their Presidential Diamond trophy so you can update your email.
Yes, that's true. You're right.
Yeah, because you'll definitely be there. And we wanted to, on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for your time, Debbie. We know you've been on webinars for the last 4.5 hours straight. So probably
yes, I have my personal chef in the back here cooking me dinner. That's a great thing.
and that looks very comfortable, because no doubt you've warmed it up for the last 4.5 hours.
Yes.
Yes. We really look forward to giving you a hug when we come overseas. And for everyone,
I can't wait.
Go up and introduce yourself to Debbie. She's an amazing woman, as you can see, and we're so grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to just say I've met a lot of your team at Vertis's party. You have an extraordinary team. I mean, Lorraine, Danny, everybody I've met so far has just been extraordinary. So you keep up your wonderful work that you're doing. And I've always admired you two from our last company. And I want to say thank you for having me on.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Debbie. We love you very much.
Love you
Thanks,
too.
Debbie.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so glad you joined us to listen to Debbie, because now you can see why we have shared her story so often over the last few years. And she really is an absolute inspiration. So please pass her story on and know what can be accomplished in 20 minutes a day as a single mum as well. So moving forward, as I had mentioned, I have a video recording from Chuck and Tammi. As you know, they are really excited to be here this coming month. They're starting out, and we'll get up some, sorry, I just had to do something with the dogs. We'll get up a list of where they'll be in just a little while, so you can share in that and get people to that. So I've got this Zoom presentation. They are on fire during it, and would love for you to stay on the line so you won't miss out on what they've got to say. And also the reason for this is to let you know how to properly, actually panelists, if you don't mind just muting your call, that would be really helpful. Muting your line, that would be helpful for us. Yeah. And I was going to say, it's really important for you to know how to promote Chuck and Tammi for these upcoming events as well. So this will give you an idea on how to do that. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's great.
Okay.
Hi everyone, this is Melissa Kotter, and we're so fortunate today to be able to hear from our grandparents So Ed Weed sponsored us, and Chuck and Tammi Gates, who are Ambassador Double Diamonds from Helena, Montana, they sponsored Ed and Rebecca Weens. And as you all know, they are coming out to tour New Zealand and Australia starting May 16 in Christchurch and finishing up in Sydney May 27. We're really excited because today will be our team training, and given that they have a house full of 75 people on the team training date, they've agreed to do this recording for us so that we can get to know them a little better and create the excitement to be able to buy your tickets for these events, and more importantly, bring your team along and as many guests as possible, because you don't want to miss out on these two speakers. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce Tammi and Chuck Gates from Helena, Montana.
Hello, we're actually going to, at this point, turn our videos off and just put a profile picture up so that you guys get a clear audio recording, okay? So we'll be right back at you.
Thanks a lot, Tammi. So what I have done is today we're asking Chuck and Tammi just a couple of questions so we can get to know them really well. And one of the first questions that pops into my mind is when they first came across the business model, the network marketing business model. So I wanted to have you all hear about their experience and their history in this industry.
Well, I was raised like a lot of other men and women in my age group. I'm 59, and I was raised to go to college or university, get as much schooling as my parents and I could afford, and then when that was over, get the best dollar per job that I could find, have really good work ethics so that I could build my resume and get more dollars per hours and better jobs. I actually met my husband Chuck when we got married in the late 70s. And when I met him, he was also good. He said, "Oh, no, Tammi. Working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, will never get us our hopes and dreams for our family." And so Chuck actually introduced me to a non-traditional way of earning income, and tried a number.
Yeah, so I was actually introduced to network marketing, which was then only called multi-level marketing. Back in 1975, and so that kind of tells you, and I'm a year older than Tammi, so it tells you how that's been. But what really attracted me was the benefits, the lifestyle, and the low dollar entry level to participate. And then the question came that if others this, why not me? You know, why not be able, if others have already done this before, why not me? And when you compare, it doesn't matter what you compare to the network marketing business model. It doesn't matter what occupation, what career, how much schooling. None of them give the same level of benefits or the possibility with no glass ceilings and freedom, or is actually even growth, because network marketing, if you're with a good company, you're not just going to do business within your own town or community, state or province. It's going to grow, and if it's a good company, it's going to grow worldwide. And so that's really that's why to make the decision. That's why I made the decision a long time ago.
You're both definitely pioneers in the industry, coming in as long ago as you did. In terms of where we're at now, the industry has changed a lot, hasn't it? So if you don't mind just sharing a few words on what you've seen and how we've got such professional business these days compared to when you started.
a lot of good questions, because when Chuck first introduced me to network marketing, I thought this can only be the next best thing to purse snatching. And I didn't view it as a profession. And that's what I'm aiming towards in my life, was a career and a profession. But today, network marketing is truly a profession. Professionals, and we can have a career network marketing, and you know, it's an industry and a profession now that has earned the respect across the globe. And you know, it's even way easier to do our business because of where technology has advanced now. And so it's really exciting to be living in this day and age of network marketing.
Yeah, you know, I think that the thing is just to go back and for instance, when I started, of course, there was, it was actually even before there was videotape. And so everything was either done by telephone or actually in the mail. And then when it came to that point of even sending a videotape or a cassette tape, if you will, you had to duplicate it or pay somebody to duplicate them, pay the postage, take it to the thing. And for instance, for us to send you information in Australia, you wouldn't have got it by the time it was all done, you wouldn't have got that information maybe for, you know, a couple of weeks, if that. And now with the touch of them, be doing this kind of communication right immediate. The world has changed. This is the time for this industry. It's going to continually get bigger and easier to do from here on out.
And you're both living in a fairly rural community in Montana. So for you to be both traveling the world and 7-figure income earners, you get to see the massive changes in this industry across the globe. So you'd certainly have the experience to comment in that regard. And what I wanted to do now is set the scene for your entry into ASEA. And in doing so, I was hoping for you to talk for a minute or two about what life was like just before ASEA came into your lives.
Because we've been in the industry, we were with a company for 18 years. We'd made it to the upper levels in that company. We were diamond distributors. We had earned quite a bit of money, time, right at $3 million in income. However, and so where we felt we had a stable income, we gradually over time watched that income, even though we were working just as hard or harder than we had worked, are seeing that it wasn't their vision anymore. They were being felt that they'd been slighted. And so when we were introduced to this company, our income had went down to a level where we knew we needed to do something, because the other company was not where we saw that our health long-term future for us. And Danny Robinson gave us a call a couple of nights, right? And asked the company and if we would take a look at it. And at that point, she asked us to listen to phone with Alan Noble. Many of the people on this call here might be aware of Alan, but Alan, we talked to him personally, and then he was doing a call from Belfast, Ireland. It was Christmas time, and he was doing a call, which at his time, o'clock in the morning, that he was holding the conference call. And I listened to that call, and Tammy listened to it. And I said right then, I said, if everybody heard what we just heard on that call, there's going to be people getting into this business. And you know, that was the point of knowing this is something that's going to go forward. I see the sincerity. And even if half of what we've heard is true, this company is going to set records, and we should be a part of it. And so, yeah, things were getting kind of bleak before ASEA came, because we were faced with possibly losing our home to foreclosure, because our bills, when our income went down, didn't. They still stayed the same. Where they were, the money was plentiful before. Now the bills were very plentiful, but not the income to support it.
Right. We definitely have residual bills in life, that's for sure. And in terms of one thing you mentioned, it broke up a little bit, but you were approached a few days before Christmas. And so for people out there who think, oh gosh, it's a couple of days before Christmas, I better not reach out and call anybody because they're all in holiday mode, or they're all stressed, they wouldn't want to do anything or listen to me or listen to what I have to offer them before Christmas. Bart and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you two being approached a couple of days before Christmas. When I say wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be part of the ASEA family. So you've really debunked that one as an excuse for people. And in terms of the timing, I guess it couldn't have been more perfect given the circumstances of what life was like before ASEA. And what we'll do is we'll transition into what life's been like since ASEA. But before we do that, I wanted to see what was the defining moment? What was it that made you say yes to ASEA? Like absolutely yes, you would never look back.
Well, Melissa, I made a list of requirements that if we were to continue in the profession of network marketing, that we didn't want to budge on. And the number one thing was the integrity and experience of the management team at corporate. And we wanted to know that we were working with people who were at the top of their career game, not someone who was just working at ASEA because they had another job, but someone who had purpose and passion in doing what they were doing. We also wanted a product that nobody else has, that everybody needs, and that people would pay for even if they weren't building a business, that they would be on our product. We wanted field leadership, training and support that was free, simple to access, 24/7 for everyone. And we wanted leaders in the field who knew what they were doing and could train a team of people coming up. And so when we found ASEA, it's like everything on our checklist, we were able to check off. And so the reason that's important now is because even the newest person in ASEA can make it as big as their hopes or dreams take them, because everything's in line. And I often analyze or equate it to, like, instead of taking a machete and chucking through a jungle of trees, the freeway has been built. The highway is there, and we can all just get on and turn our cruise control up as high as our life and dreams can make it, right?
Well, absolutely, and you've definitely been doing that, both of you. I know you just recently went on a service mission to Africa. You've just gotten back from, so you're certainly living that life and leading by example. And when it comes to the list that you created, I think it's important for people to realize that not always in life do you need to know what you want. Sometimes knowing what you don't want is a good motivator as well. So part of your list would have been based on knowing what you just weren't going to tolerate anymore. And being pioneers in the industry, you knew what you were looking for, and based on that, you made an educated decision, having taken in all the information. So with that being said, when you started with ASEA, how did you give yourself the best chance for success? How did you set yourself up in your ASEA business?
Well, I think the one thing that we did is right from the very beginning, we treated it like a business. We didn't treat it that let's take a stab at this, or this may bring us a little bit of money. Let's throw a little bit of work at it and see what comes out. We had made a decision, and we practice. A lot of people practice what we call the A-lift process. and we do a call here in the States called the charge-up call. Well, that first letter for A-Lift is attitude. And we went at it with an attitude that, hey, we need to absolutely pull out all the stops. We need to let people know we're serious and we're committed to this. And we need to go at it with the kind of work ethic that we have to make this work. This is what we want to do for a living. We don't want to go get another part-time job and work at this a little bit. We've already known what it's like to be able to do this full time. And so we went at it with that kind of work ethic, and we encouraged that type of work ethic to other people that were going to come behind us.
And as well, Melissa, we really, really, really believe with every fiber in us that if we tell someone that ASEA can make a difference for you in the opportunity and the business, that's the truth, right? We're not hyping anybody. We are not, we're not telling a lie. We believe it as well. And we love to get underneath other people and work like it's our own business with them and for them. And we've actually been able, through doing that, to see ASEA change other people's lives in really big ways too. So I say that to say it's just not the people at the top. It's everyone. You know, I met a woman recently who was on the United States Social Security pension, and so was her husband, and that was their income. And then her husband died, and she was left with less of an income. But through helping her build her ASEA income, we were able to replace her husband's Social Security pension and even bring her a bigger income. We have another family who lost his 50-year-old retirement through some unfortunate circumstances, and we were able to get underneath them and help them build their ASEA business so he could replace that retirement. We have another family who drove one of the most dangerous roads in America at 4 o'clock in the morning and again at 8 o'clock at night, and his wife just prayed all day long that he could get back home, and we were able to replace his income too. So, you know, it's like beyond a business for yourself. If you ever thought you could help someone, you can. You know what? So Melissa, here's the deal. ASEA helps relieve and eliminate a lot of health challenges and problems, right? Our product does. However, a lot of those health challenges and issues are created by stress, by financial stress. And so we can help. I mean, we don't just have to put a Band-Aid on the health issue by reversing it with our product. We can actually implement a permanent solution to people's stresses and finances in their sword. We have a double whammy, and we just need to go out and tell more people about it.
Well, I know that you two are very compassionate human beings, and you're very driven by seeing other people's lives change and see them achieve things in life that they never actually ever thought was possible. So when it comes to staying motivated in this business, because it's life. We have good days, we have not so good days. You know, we meet people who are completely open to taking a look. We meet other people who try and talk us out of pursuing our career with ASEA. And so when it comes to your motivation levels over these years, how many years have you two been involved for now? I mean, since the beginning, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we found ASEA when they were 6 months old. So we've been involved for about 7.5 years now.
So what keeps
Melissa, is what keeps people motivated. You know, if something isn't moving forward, people have a tendency to walk away from it or get bored with it. And so success breeds success. And success creates motivation. And when people have that type of success and experience happening on a regular basis, it's easy to keep them motivated. And so that's the thing, is that, and the thing with that is, it's interesting, you know, you'll hear a lot of different sayings in the industry, and one is that a lot of times your people will do what you do. And so it's almost like osmosis. Even if they don't know what you're doing, if you're not doing anything, they're probably not doing anything. And but success works from the top down, but it also works from the down and the bottom up. And so success, once you pass success on, it's passed back to you as well. And so it's an interesting circle that happens, and that does keep people motivated.
Oh, definitely. I have a vision board here next to me in my office, and it says the hand of the giver is never empty. And so that's basically what you're talking about when it comes to sharing the gift of ASEA, sharing the gift of these molecules, and knowing that will come back to us. Not that there's an expectation it has to, but it does. And you two are living testimony of that cycle of success, because you give so much and you've helped so many people. And it must be a really beautiful position to be in, to know that, you know, in the last 7.5 years, you've changed so many lives. So I can't even imagine. I mean, we know on our level of success, but from where you're standing as well, that must feel so good. There mustn't be anything better than that.
Well, and it's something that's open to each and every one of us. I know that if any of the listeners, if we ask them, everyone's motivation is to help other people. And we have such a gift with ASEA. And we really honestly can't wait until we get to come and meet everyone in Australia and hug people's necks that we already know, and just figure out how together as a team we can all link arms and help all of the people that we all know out of their situations. Because ASEA honestly is a gift and a treasure that's open to each and every person who just wants to open the present, right?
Right.
Yeah, and you know, the thing that you talked about there, I can say that we really are proud of our success, but we're proud because we're as proud of the team that's helped us get there. And this isn't being prideful, it's being grateful, because nobody builds this by themselves. If they're going to have a business, they're going to have a team of people underneath them who have a team of people underneath them. And so it is absolutely not being prideful. It's being proud of the people that work every day and work hard, and proud of people that see the vision and have a heart to help other people to pass this vision forward, as well as the business opportunity. And so, you know, the thing is I guess there's so much gratitude that comes from working with other fellow like-minded human beings, that alone it feels like we get all of these hugs and thank yous and get to watch all these blessings happen for people, and they're going to pay us too. It's overwhelming how wonderful this business model, this company is, and what the future is for everyone that decides to participate.
Well spoken, both of you. You're 100% right. And something that pops into my mind is we've got people who first come into ASEA and they say, I'm going to put the products on trial, and if I don't get a result, I'm not going to talk to anyone about that. So when it comes to advice you can give for people who expect an absolute miracle on the technology literally overnight, do you have any words of wisdom or personal experiences that you can share with us so that they can break through and truly see the gift of what they're being offered?
Yeah, well, I would just say no, we didn't wait for a product experience before we moved forward. We understood the science and the breakthrough of what the patents really meant. And this is big. You know, what they've accomplished here is huge. And so we didn't sit back and say, hey, we're going to wait and see if you guys are telling the truth, or if your patents are really valid, or if these people that have told us what's happened to them, if they were just making up stories, or we could read it in their eyes, we could sense it in their voice. We knew they were telling the truth. And so, and of course, we did have product results as well. But as many people maybe know, you know, Tammi didn't have a major product experience that I had. She hadn't had it until 11 months into us working with ASEA. And so if we had waited for those 11 months on her to have a major product experience, she had a lot of great things that did happen, but nothing major. But if she would have waited and I'd have waited, we'd have waited and missed out on $45,000 of income, because before she had her major product experience. But in that process of that time, we witnessed hundreds of major breakthroughs for other people that we had shared our heart with and this product, and they went on to do the same, and saw that ripple effect going into place in the business model, doing what it's supposed to do, duplicate.
That's such a powerful story, and we share Tammi's story a lot, and we hope when you're out here, Tammi, you'll expand on that for people who don't know your situation when it came to the injury that you sustained, and that you Sorry?
Yes, I
Thanks.
will.
Looking forward to that, because we all know that this technology is not on trial. It's absolutely not on trial. So when it comes to advice for people taking a look at this, for them to look past that, and this is pretty hardcore, but there's somebody that we know who really sees that people who won't look past that, in a way, there's a level of selfishness involved, because this technology may be able to help somebody that they know. So look forward to hearing more about your powerful story when you come out here. And I wanted to transition into words of advice for someone starting out new in ASEA. So given that you've seen so much change in this industry over so many years, particularly even with growth and expansion globally with ASEA, what words of advice would you give for a new person starting
out? The one thing is momentum. You know, do what we did. Treat it like a business. Treat it with respect. The big thing is you've got so many great tools and leaders and people that are your team members, that, you know, what you're doing is you've joined a team, and it's not to be taken lightly. It's those team members, the people that have came before you, the people that are already in the game. They're here to give not only support, but they're there to give direction and really help you. So if you're not utilizing the team support and help and the tools, you're working way too hard, and you're probably not going to get to where you'd like to get. So make your job easier, ask for help, plug into the system. It's a well-oiled machine that it already works. You don't have to reinvent it. Get good at what already works here. And then you can, if you want to tweak it or come up with your own protocol of how people should get started, then do it. But the big thing is come in with excitement, go at it with momentum, use other people that have already went before you to help you lead the way, bring others to the table to see what it is we have.
And Melissa, I would say come to the events that we are promoting in May. Get yourself to whatever event you find to get your way to. But look at all of the cities on the tour and ask yourself, who do I know in those cities? and get other people to those cities and those events, even if you can't attend. And we'll all do the heavy lifting for you and report back to you what happened.
Thank you, because I think what people need to understand is, Tammi, your strategic business sense, the way you've both built this business model together, the success that you've had, people need to come and hear your stories. They need to meet you. Chuck, you are a walking library of testimonials when it comes to, you just for some reason seem to retain people's experiences, which is really a gift. And together when it comes to words of advice and how to set people up correctly and the insights and the experiences that you've had with particularly the last 7.5 years on your shoulders with ASEA, people need to get to these corporate events so they can see that, because what happens when people meet you two, their beliefs become a knowing and then they're unstoppable. And that's why we're so privileged and honoured to have you both to come down here and do another crazy whirlwind tour of Australia. They need to get your hugs. They need to meet you both, and they need to see how it's possible to become a 7-figure income earner a year in ASEA, and what steps need to be in place to do that. They can't get that sitting at home watching television. And for them to come and bring people in their team and bring guests, they need to be there to experience you too. And so I just wanted to really put that out there, because that's extremely important. It's a gift to have you visit down here for us, and we're really looking forward to it. So thank you for that. So I wanted to just quickly move on to 2 final questions. And what do you both see for ASEA's future?
Well, the thing it's hard to describe this, but the ASEA's future is big and it's bright. They're growing very quickly, but it's controlled growth, a sustained growth, that they don't go into places and go into something if they don't know they can't sustain it. And that's good business management, and it's to be respected. It comes a lot from the founder, Bertus Norton, being a strategic planner who was with Kraft Foods. And there's no reason to go in. It's just like, why go into business if you're not going to stay into business? And why go into a country if you can't sustain that country or have continued growth in that country? And so many companies go into places very quick, and then they find out they weren't prepared to really go into that, and now they've literally been kicked out of the country because they couldn't sustain the business model, or they've let those people in that country down. And now, so ASEA doesn't do that. ASEA is bright. The future, the destiny, if we could all foresee what the years are going to look like, knowing what this technology brings, the lives that are going to be changed, the medical professionals whose eyes are going to be opened, everything in the athletic realm, everything in anti-aging, and seeing literally things reversed that were given just very dim prognosis for completely turned around. That's going to continue to go. The thing is that, and then again, is to know what we saw in the very beginning is that if this was in the hands of other corporations, if this was in the hands of people that, the product's a winner. The product could win anywhere, but in the wrong hands, this product could be literally never grow if it wasn't in the right hands, and it really is. And that's what's neat about this is we get to invite who we want to come to the dance. We get to invite who we would like to bestow this gift to pass the word on. And the corporate has done that. And when they hire somebody, it isn't just because they need to fill a position. They spend the extra time and money to hire people before they need them that are capable of doing the job and handling the type of growth that they're expecting. So ASEA is in a wonderful place. And boy, I can't even imagine, if you think this has been 7 years And just like where you and Bart have came in such a short period of time, and what's it going to look like in a few short more years for you, for Australia, for New Zealand? You know, it is just flown amazing where it's going. So very exciting.
Thank you, Chuck, and particularly with being on the cusp of Asia opening, we are all globally in the best position we could possibly be in when it comes to being able to really capitalise on that momentum. So thank you both. Were you going to say something, Tammi?
No, I was just going to agree. It's so true. You know, ASEA last year, this year, we were scheduled to do, $80–85 million. And it's now known, it's now a fact based on our brilliant executive management that we're going to break the $100 million mark this year. And for network marketing companies, we know that means that they could grow even north of 20% a month. And just given our entrance into Asia and the Asian markets at conventions, some really exciting announcements are going to be being made. And so you want to be on the forefront of that too. So I just want to put a plug in for a convention as well and make sure if it's at all possible. I know it's a long way and a lot of expense, but it'll be worth your time, I promise.
We will never miss that event and never miss those North American conventions, just because any leader in this business needs to be there. It's part of doing business. And when it comes to flying from Australia and the investment, it's an investment in our business. So we're really looking forward to catching up to you two up there as well. So Salt Lake City, September 26th to 29th, I think it is. So we're going to wrap up with the final question, which is, how has your lives changed since ASEA?
Well, I told you that where we were at when we were introduced to this company, the future didn't look very bright. It looked pretty bleak. We were facing possibly a foreclosure on our home. And we don't now. We don't fear for our future. We don't fear for our elderly years coming, or the legacy for our children, or what we would be able to do rather than leave them a bunch of bills. That now the bills will be what we call dollar bills instead of monthly bills or debt. And you know, the financial freedom that it's given us to make decisions, to do just like we just did going to South Africa. We know God's called us to do things, and that's one of the, to really be able to financially do what you feel called to do as well, to fulfill prophecy that's been told over you of things that you know you're supposed to do, and to be able to fulfill it and do it. And you know, the thing is we've been so many places and traveled so much, and we've been able to do so many things that most people, they've only even dreamed of to be able to do. And it's all because, you know, of not just prosperity, but it's because the business takes you there. And that's the wonderful thing, is that we get paid to share the word of this wonderful company and product and the blessings of it all over the world, and it's just going to continue to grow. And it's not just us. Anybody that wants to do this, all you got to do is go to work, and pretty soon you can't keep this business in your own backyard if you're going to share it. It's going to jump to other places. It's going to jump across the ocean. It's going to go to other countries, and you're going to have people in your business too in other places. And so with that, you'll have the chance, if you want to go there and work with the people and personally spend the time with them. And so it's just the benefits, again, of being in this type of business. The other thing I guess I'd like to say is, this gave me 2.5 more years with my mother, which were literally blessing years. My own health has changed dramatically. I'm in better health now than I was 7 years ago when I came to this. My eyesight's improved. I'm off of medication that they said I would, and I've been on it for 3 years, and they told me I'd be on it for the rest of my life. Now I've been completely off with no side effects for 7 years. I think clearer. I don't experience the headaches, the neck aches, and the back aches that I had before, or the knee problems. When I met ASEA, I was having to take pain relievers and wrap my knee at night just to try to get to sleep. And that's all. Whatever this wonderful product's done, whether it's brought repaired nerve endings or whatever that throbbed forever, but I have not had the surgery, and everybody would have expected that in my shape that I wouldn't ever have been able to maintain without having surgery. So yeah, it's been wonderful. So when you say what has it changed for my life, what hasn't it changed for my life? It's been so many wonderful changes, just like you and Bart, to be in business with your life soul partner. I've been in other business partnerships, and I've been burned in every one of them. And this is the only partner I'll ever need or want for the rest of my life, is this one that's sitting next to me. And so it's been wonderful.
Congratulations to both of you on all of your success. Bart and I are definitely better people for knowing both of you. We truly are. And if you hadn't made the decision with ASEA, you wouldn't have told Ed and Rebecca. We wouldn't potentially be here experiencing the life that we're experiencing and changing the lives that we're changing. And I'm so glad that your health is completely transformed, because I'm going to bring up the tour dates and let people know that you're going to need the energy to get through these tour dates. It's going to be a really exciting time for all of us down here. We're so grateful that you're coming down to Australia and New Zealand for us. So there's a Bitline link that I'll go through again after the call on our training. But look also on the previous Team Builders Global newsletters for the ticket links. And to let you know, May 16, Christchurch, followed by Auckland, Hobart, Melbourne, then Perth, Cairns, Brisbane and Sydney, May 27th. So get your tickets today. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be there. And want to thank both you and Chuck, Tammi, both you and Chuck, so much for being here. Enjoy your Montana tour. What's the Montana tour that you've got going? You've got a lot happening with your ASEA business up there right
now. 5 cities this week. Every night. New city every night.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you both in Sydney and, well, all over Australia. And appreciate your time. Love you both very much, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks to you.
All right. Well, that was fantastic. Look, Melissa did a great job with that interview as well. It's always good to hear from Chuck and Tammi. The thing that I love about ASEA is the people who really are rocking this business, that you can tell from both Chuck and Tammi as well as Debbie Wetzler. They're the kind of people who are self-motivated, they're ambitious, they're people that genuinely love to help other people, and they're also the kind of people who want more out of life. And I think that you can really feel from their heart that that's exactly who they are. You know, I've always heard that if you want to be successful, you hang out, you learn from the people who are most successful, and you do and duplicate what they've done. So Chuck and Tammi have been there. It's just remarkable how they've been there to support us and to help us out in every step of the way, and they're there to help and support you as well. So it's a big commitment to make that big tour around Australia and New Zealand. It's pretty full-on travel schedule, but they're here to help and support us. So we really couldn't emphasize any more the importance of getting to not only getting to these events, but making sure that you bring people to those events. Debbie said for the convention coming up that she's leading the pack for people that are going to the convention. Now we have the benefit of having ASEA bring some of the, having some of the top leaders coming over here on a quarterly basis. So these are our corporate events too. Gosh, I look back at even the very first corporate event that I went to when I got involved with this industry, and I lived in Hawaii. I didn't have the money. I was absolutely broke, but I had a credit card, and I thought, well, I need to be there. So I didn't just fly from Hawaii to Seattle, Washington, but I thought I need to have my team there with me too. Had some 4 key legs of the business that ended up being absolutely rock solid key leaders that helped us, help me move my business, up the ranks. And it's the same thing with this too. We've heard Justin Wilson is going to be coming out with Chuck and Tammy, at least for Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane events, I believe. And so Justin Wilson is Vice President of Global Sales. So that'll be exciting to have him there as well. So this is billed as a corporate event. Not only will you want to be there, but you want to make sure that you get as many people there as possible. And look, I couldn't emphasize this stronger. It's really, really important to go to the newsletter and click on this link or write down this link and register. So what I would suggest, the tickets, I think some of the events are lower priced venues. When I say lower priced, it didn't cost as much as some of the other venues, so the ticket prices are a little less. I think Brisbane is only like $5 a ticket. The Sydney event's 20.
Sydney, Melbourne's 20.
20 from Sydney and Melbourne. But look, I would just say, look, I've got a commitment. I'm going to bring this many people to it. I'd commit to, if you're going to bring 6 people personally, then pick up 6 tickets, and then you're committed to making sure that those tickets are filled up. You got people for those tickets. It is really important right now, especially as we're getting closer and closer to that venue, that we get those. Of course, the ticket prices are more at the door, so it's just about making a decision as a leader and getting those events.
We've got 1 minute left in the allocated time we usually have for this monthly training, actually 30 seconds. So just a quick mention, these are the dates for the Salt Lake City annual convention. So make sure you purchase your tickets whilst they're at the early bird rate. So ASEA has run studies on 2 groups of people, those who attended convention and those who did not. And the people who attended experienced a 25% higher weekly volume over those who didn't. And convention attendees beat out non-convention attendees when it comes to rank advancement. They were essentially 14 times faster. So the results speak for themselves right there. We wanted to thank you all very much. We cut a few items out of the agenda for today. As you can see, based on what I had mentioned in the beginning, it was really important for us to feature Chuck and Tammy so you get to know who they are. And this will be our training next month. It'll be June 2nd in the US and June 3rd in Australia. And we have the amazing Dan Doyle, Ambassador Diamond, who will be hosting that webinar because Bart and I will be in Tasmania. So look forward to meeting you all at these up and coming corporate events in Australia and New Zealand. Always welcome for your feedback at any time, and look forward to you making sure that your newsletter subscriptions stay active, you get it out to your team. Have a fantastic rest of the weekend, and we'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Just, I think you've got a slide that just shows the newsletter link. Just want to show that too, just to make sure that if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, this is important. So anybody on your team, right at the bottom of the newsletter, there's this link here at the bottom. They can click on that. You can forward that to people, and they can get registered so that way people are plugged into these events and your team is right there. We do update it from time to time, but if you can make sure that when you enroll your new people, or that they're part of that subscription link.
So people can unsubscribe themselves at the bottom of each email if they want to as well. And promise, very last, every Wednesday night, really need to mention we have a Discover ASEA webinar followed by a quick start training, 7 p.m. All details are in those newsletters. This is something you want to bring your new guests, your seasoned associates. Everyone needs to be on this webinar to be able to see the overview of ASEA and to be able to get started quickly in this business. We basically show you word for word and step by step how to do it. It's easy. Anyone can do it.
And it's simple. Look, I can't help but mention and kind of highlight what you just said too, because it is important. Look, this whole webinar has been kind of restructured in a way that really condenses the time down, keeps it simple, and so definitely get your people onto it. The other thing that we have included into that now is a real brief, quick start to show people exactly how simple this is, how easy it is. And so, whether you've got a guest or not, it's a really good idea to plug into it, listen and learn, and so that you can really be on top of that too, learning everything that you need to know. But truly, this is a good event to promote to your people. You can even create a special event around that where several people can get together, basically do a private business reception where we're doing the presentation, and let's just have a lot of fun with them. So thanks everybody for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you, panelists. Hopefully next time around you'll have an opportunity to speak, and we will catch you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.